Alexander Gerst, the third German to visit the International Space Station, will shortly return to Earth after 166 days in orbit. A member of ESA's astronaut corps since 2009, it took 5 years of non-stop training with the station's international partners to prepare him for the challenge. Traveling between Germany, Russia, the United States, Canada and Japan, he learnt the skills he'd need to fly to and from the ISS and work as a member of its onboard crew. The Blue Dot mission began on May the 28th, 2014, when Alexander Gerst was launched from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. Traveling in a Russian Soyuz capsule with crewmates Reid, Wiseman and Maxim Surayev, the journey took just 6 hours. Soon the airlock was opened and the ESA astronaut entered the station to begin his new role as flight engineer. Over the next 6 months, Gerst followed a strictly controlled timeline of activities. Much of his time was spent on scientific research, carrying out around 40 European experiments as well as several international projects. In ESA's Columbus laboratory, he used the electromagnetic levitator, a special furnace used for studying the behavior of molten metals free from the influence of gravity. Life sciences, fluid physics and testing of new technologies were also part of the agenda, with experiments going on both inside and outside the ISS. Like any astronaut undergoing a long-duration mission, Gerst's body is monitored before, during and after the mission. The data provided by these studies has important applications, both in spaceflight and for healthcare back on Earth. Alexander Gerst has also played his part in the day-to-day running of the space station, which is serviced by a number of freight vessels. In August, ESA's 5th automated transfer vehicle arrived, with Gerst overseeing the docking process before unloading tons of equipment and supplies. It's the last ATV to fly, and will remain attached to the ISS, providing extra space and reboost facilities before undocking next February. No doubt the personal highlight of Alexander Gerst's mission was his first spacewalk on October the 7th. Together with NASA's Reid Wiseman, he spent over 6 hours outside the ISS installing a failed pump, replacing a camera light and upgrading the power unit on the station's movable cart. A task comparable to rewiring a car engine while wearing motorcycle gloves, according to veteran ESA astronaut Hans Schlegel. Safely back on board, Alexander Gerst is now making the most of his final few days in orbit. Shortly he'll enter the Soyuz for his return to Earth, landing on the Kazakhstan Steppes less than 4 hours after undocking. Preparations are already underway for the November launch of ESA astronaut Samantha Cristoforetti, continuing Europe's presence on board the International Space Station.